Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Horse Racing Series, just on Teesside Ste&Dee, and why I'm joining a debate on why Arsenal will struggle to win the Premier League. But it's not just Arsenal, it's all London clubs. You've got to remember, in the Premier League, London clubs play 12 derby games a year. That's a third of the fixtures are derby games. Now, we all know that derby games are different from a normal game of football. There is the passion, there is the local bragging rights at stake. Now, you've got Manchester, only have Manchester United as an actual derby game. But you've got to remember, in the Premier League, you've got Brentford, Palace, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Fulham, and I probably missed another one there. But that's the difficulty for London clubs to get their hands on that Premier League trophy, and why it's took so long for a London club to win a Premier League. If you just look back on the Premier League over the last 15 years or so, it's been dominated by clubs that haven't got that many derby games to play. Manchester City play Manchester United, Liverpool play Everton. Yes, people might say, well, Manchester and Liverpool are not that far apart, but it's not an actual derby. London clubs have to play 12 derby games per year and everything that goes with them. And that is the difficulty for London clubs. That's why Arsenal, if they win the Premier League this season, it will be a massive, massive achievement, taking into account they've had 12 derby games to play. And that is always going to be the difficulty for Arsenal, unless a lot of London clubs drop out of the Premier League, then they have a chance. Can Arsenal still win the title? Yes, they can. You know, Man City have got to go to Leeds tonight, and we all know that under the lights, Leeds have got an amazing record under the lights at Elland Road. Can Leeds turn Man City overnight? You know what? There's a possibility there. But at the moment, you'd have to say it's in Manchester City's hands. Man City win today, 2 points behind Arsenal. Arsenal, massive game tomorrow, a derby game against Chelsea. And as I said, everything that goes with a derby game. And while I'm on the subject, I'm also going to cover why these lower league clubs do much better against the bigger clubs when we come round to the FA Cup, and why it must be annoying for fans of these lesser clubs that they see their team perform unbelievably above expectation against these bigger clubs. But in their weekly bread and butter leagues, they don't perform. And that must be so agonising for football fans, because if your players can perform like that week in, week out, as they did against, say, like Macclesfield beat Crystal Palace. If Macclesfield can do that against Crystal Palace, then why can't they perform like that every week? And that's the question people would ask. And it's the same as the derby games for London clubs. Players raise the game. Tottenham are on an awful run at the moment. And other London clubs, Brentford are doing really well. But London club against London club raise their game because it's a derby game, and small clubs against big clubs raise their game because it's putting them in the spotlight. It's their chance to show themselves. But if you can do that against Crystal Palace, why can't you do that week in, week out in the league? So it's a mental game. Now, I've heard the saying before, mentality is 80% of footballers' minds, and I think that is absolutely right. You can raise your game and play beyond your expectations against higher opposition, but you can't motivate yourself enough mentally to play against lesser or level oppositions. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. I'm opening a big debate today on why it's hard for Arsenal to win the Premier League. Have a great Saturday, everybody.